Welcome to the very first episode of 5 Questions With, and today our special guest is Rebecca Headden, co-owner of R13 Recruitment. You've been established for over a decade now, so what gives you so much drive and determination?
So I think for us, it's all about having become part of that key Norfolk business community. We've been engaged with some of these clients that we've worked with, and we say clients, but they've almost become friends nowadays. Some of them for nearly 11 years that we've been operating in business, and some of them for, an even longer period of time. And I think what has kept us going is being part of those organisations' growth, seeing their development and being on that journey with them. It's kind of like we're part of their business. We might not work internally, but we understand what they're going through, where they're at, where they're going, how they want to get there. And it's being part of that has been such a pleasure and such a joy. And it's those things, recruitment can be a roller coaster. In the industry, we like to call it champagne and horseshit. Sometimes it's horseshit and sometimes it's champagne. But the champagne moments are what keep you coming back. It's like a drug. Getting a candidate a brand spanking new job that they are absolutely in love with and are so excited to start is amazing. Watching a business grow because of the people that you've put into it is incredible. And that's an honour that we carry through, and that's why we keep doing what we're doing.
What do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learnt from being in business?
So 11 years is quite a long time, 25% of my age. So there have been some big lessons that we've learnt in business. I think some of the hardest lessons that we've learnt is that everyone has their own agenda. You can think that, you're on a path with somebody and that everything is running smoothly, but the biggest problem that you could have is complacency. And what you need to do is keep communicating, to keep understanding what that person's personal business agenda is. The more that you can do that, the more you can understand them, the more that you can collaborate together. If you become complacent, you fall off the rails and then you just don't know what's going on. That's the danger zone. I think the other thing that we had to bear in mind when we first set up R13, as a two, it was almost manageable to do everything ourselves. And as the business continued to grow, it became apparent that quite simply we couldn't. What we needed to do is draft in specialists, knowledgeable experts to be able to help us in different areas to help our business continue to grow and to develop. And it's developing those trusted advisors into your network that can truly help you succeed. I think the other thing that we established is that sometimes you can do a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a lot from it. It's looking at the work that you are doing and looking to establish if the work that you're doing is going to get you the results that you want. And sometimes to do that, you've got to take a step back rather than just doing a lot to actually focus on what a lot of doing is going to get you.
What makes R13 stand out in what seems to be a crowded marketplace? And what do you do differently?
So the recruitment marketplace in Norwich is extremely crowded. There are a lot of agencies. I think one of the key things that helps R13 to stand out is our sheer number of years of experience. We're very, very fortunate to have some really fantastic people within our team who've worked in the sector for many, many years. I think at last count, we had about 200 years collective experience in recruitment, which is not to be sniffed at. And obviously, alongside that experience comes the networks that we have established, which means that we have access to clients and to candidates that wouldn't necessarily be available in the generalist marketplace. And we alleviate that when we're looking to find people to fill jobs, when we're looking for jobs that people can go into. We understand on a deeper level than just surface. It's not just about what's written on a job specification. It's about understanding what's within that person that will make them the right fit for that company, that can help them to add value. And maybe that value add isn't going to come immediately, but we'll be able to understand what they can deliver further along down the line.
So what makes R13 so unique?
So R13 aren't just yes people, which I think sometimes people can struggle with. A lot of the time when we initially speak to clients on our first engagement, they expect us just to take away a job specification and go and find them some people. But we need to get into the nitty gritty. We need to lift the bonnet on that job and we need to understand what's underneath it. And sometimes that means that we have to challenge what people's perceptions are and what people think that they want. But by doing that, we make sure that when people do make those hires, that they're hires that really work for their organisations and hires that add value for their business long term.
The economic environment remains somewhat unstable. So what hiring challenges are companies facing at the moment? And how does R13 offer support in this area?
So employers are experiencing lots of challenges at the moment. We can think about things like rising costs in terms of the minimum wage that have increased. We can think about increased candidate expectations in terms of, what they're expecting from their employers and the packages that they're expecting and those kind of things. And then we can anticipate things like maybe employers haven't recruited for a little while and they're coming fresh into a market that they haven't dabbled in previously. So for us to be able to add value, it is about having those challenging conversations. It is about qualifying what it is that that client really wants to achieve from bringing that new headcount into their organisation. And it is about taking their brand to market. If you are working for an organisation that either someone doesn't know about, then it can be very challenging to get traction in terms of gaining applications. That's what we're all about. We're all about taking your brand into the marketplace and telling those candidates all about you, what you can offer and what you can bring to them and their career.
Before we finish today, I have one last question for you. If you look back over your life so far, what's your proudest achievement and what do you regret the most?
Okay, that's a deep question. So proudest thing, I am really proud of R13. Really, really proud. Like, we have worked so hard to develop a recruitment brand especially, that has longevity, that is true to itself, and that organisations and people can be proud of being a part of. Our team, the clients that we work with, the candidates that we work with, that has taken blood, sweat, tears, long hours, no sleep, all of those things. And the reason that we've done that is for that reason. But I think outside of that, my husband and I have produced a very lovely little boy. And to be perfectly honest with you, that's the reason why we keep doing what we do. I want him to be proud of his mum.
And how about any regrets that you might have?
Do you know what? This is going to sound really eggy, but I really try and believe in not having any regrets. Because what's the point? Like, you only live once, and having regrets isn't really going to make any difference. That's not to say that my life has been perfect by any stretch of the imagination, not at all. But there's no point in regretting things that have happened. You've just got to learn from what's happened and move forward.
Rebecca, thank you so much for today.